it will not be like the covenant I made with their ancestors.
It's not going to be like the covenant I made with their ancestors. This one is going to be a different covenant. Are you understanding? Yes, continue.
By the ancestors, it will not be like the covenant which I made with the ancestors when I took them by the hand to lead them out of Egypt.
Yes.
Because they did not remain faithful to my covenant.
Yes.
I turned away from them, declares the Lord.
Wait, listen. He said, if there is nothing wrong with that covenant, he will not make the new one. But he have discovered there is something wrong with it. What is that thing that was wrong with the old covenant? People could not observe the covenant. Are you understanding? Eh? Because it is, he said, they could not continue with the covenant. They could not observe it. So I have to make what? A new one. The issue was not with the covenant. The issue was not with the law. The issue was with the people. The people could not what? Obey. The people could not observe it. It's like I made covenant with my wife, but what I asked her to observe, okay, as a token for the covenant, it is too heavy for her to carry. So for me to make it easier, I have to what? I have to reduce it for her to be able to what? To carry it. So God find fault with that covenant. And what is the fault? I want to make it clear. The fault was not the law. The fault was not the covenant. The fault was with what? The people. And God.
This is the covenant I will establish with the people of Israel.
He is now saying,
after that time,
he is now giving us the type of covenant. The type of covenant that Jesus established with us. The other one have rule and regulation. People must observe for them to be blessed. People must observe for them to be cursed. People must what? Break it for them to be cursed. We said, I'm going to make another one. And this is the type of the covenant. I'm making now. Continue.
I will put my laws in their minds.
I will put my laws in their heart or their minds.
Their minds, and write them on their hearts.
I will write them on their hearts.
I will be their God and they will be my people.
I will be their God and they will be my people.
No longer will they teach their neighbor.
Yes.
Or say to one another,
yes,
know the Lord,
yes,
because they will all know me.
Yes.
From the least of them to the greatest.
You see this type of covenant?
For I will forgive their wickedness.
I will forgive their wickedness.
And will remember their sins no more.
Wait, listen. That one, there are rules and regulations. It was written on the tablet. You obey, and I bless you. You don't obey, I curse you. Isn't it? But for this one, he said, it's a new one. I'm going to write the law in their hearts. It have set me free from the law of sin and death. Telling us is a different one. Commandment and different one. Are we making sense, sir? Different something. So, but this one I'm going to write it in their hearts. And the unfortunate matter is that people cannot see their hearts. But the law is written in our hearts. That is why anytime you want to do something that is wrong, the heart will now tell you. Because the law is written where? In the hearts. Isn't it? That one you don't read it. That one you don't go somewhere and read it. That one nobody will tell you. God himself will write it in your hearts. He will write what he wants and what he don't want in your hearts. Okay? But another thing, to make it good at that time, he said, if someone commit adultery, stone him to death. Was it written? Yes. And if you catch someone stealing, if he's using the hand to steal, cut his hand. Amplify something. Yes. Okay, to read for us. Read for us.
So when God speaks of a new covenant,
yes,
or agreement,
yes,
he makes the first one obsolete.
Which chapter? Which verse is it? 13?
No, we do not.
I want us to read 13.
Yes.
I want us to.
I'm reading the Amplified now.
Okay, okay.
He said when God speaks of a new covenant.
So when God talks of the new covenant
or agreement, he makes the first one obsolete, which means out of use.
Yes.
That is the meaning of obsolete.
Please, let's say something here. Okay. The old one because God talk of new covenant, he has made the old one obsolete. He said, out of what?
Out of use.
So, if something is out of use,
And what is obsolete means out of use and annulled because of age.
yes,
It's ripe for disappearance and to be dispensed with altogether.
yes. Is that clear? Now, it's out of use. So, am I to use the old covenant now? Am I to go back and read the law of Moses and be telling people these are what they should do? No. The old covenant and his practices are out of use. We don't have the priesthood we have now. It's not from the descendant of what? Levites. We don't go to the temple in Jerusalem now. We don't observe the Sabbath. Why? Because the old is out of use. And as I was saying something, he said, this is the type of the covenant. I will write the law in their hearts. And I will forgive their iniquities. Say, I will be merciful to their unrighteousness, and their sins and their lawless deeds I will remember no more. That is it. Read 9 verse 1 for us. Read the Amplified for us. Of Hebrew 9 verse 1. Have we understand something? Before we say 1 or 2.
9 verse 1.
1 verse 1, yes. 9 verse
5 version 1.
yes.
Now, even the first covenant has its own rules.
Now, even the first covenant has its own rules
and
regulation
for divine worship.
For divine worship.
And it had a sanctuary.
Now, it's okay. What I'm trying to point to you is the old covenant has its own what? Rules and ordinance for divine service.
Accordance to the words.
Yes. And the new one also. So Jesus was telling them something. Say you cannot mix old wine and new wine together. So if you do that, you cause problem. Canada, we are trying to sing our church today. There are some places are leaking. Sorry to say it. Okay. So I told the building committee or the project committee that we should please try and correct it. They said they are going for new thing. I said no. If you put new thing on top of the new, I think it's like you are disgracing the old more. So we should use the one that is fairly used, so that we will not disgrace the old, isn't it? If not, people will say, "Hi, look at this video," and most of them buy the idea. So we say, "Let's go for one." The old one. So you don't mix the church has been mixing the two covenants, and there is problem everywhere. Okay. If I am judging you using the old covenant, you should know. If the reason why I'm telling you this, so that if the devil is referring you to the old covenant, you tell him that one is out of use. Isn't it? Yes, and if somebody is trying to, when we understand the new, hallelujah. So that's it. So let's try and see something also. Yes.
Since all know the covenant between Moses and the covenant he was made with us.
Yes.
So is there any difference between the new covenant now and because that one was specific?
Yes.
Now, does this one affect us?
This one?
Is it as in the actual film?
Okay, the new covenant.
Yeah.
Are we inside it?
Yeah, well,
Of course. The covenant was with his disciples. He did not gather the 12 tribes of Israel to make the covenant with them. Am I correct? Okay. He used the disciples and he made the covenant with his disciples. And yes.
Shall we then, it's still in the Corinthians,
Yeah.
shall we then continue to live in sin because there is no law?
Okay. What
Say
we
that
have
the grace
to
will abide for.
yes. I'm coming. I'm going to answer you now.
Yeah.
I'm going to answer you now. Please read for us. Read for us Hebrews chapter 7 verse 11. As I try to answer that one. Okay? At least by God's grace, there is no way we will ask people to sin.
Yes.
Isn't it? Eh? Okay. But we must also understand when we talk about sin, what are we talking about? Because when you say sin, it's a big word. That is what. Okay, read for us.
11.
Yes, 11.
If perfection could have been attained through the Levitical priesthood,
yes,
for on the basis of this, for on the basis of it, the law was given to the people.
On the basis of it, the law was given.
Yeah. Why was there still need for another priest?
Yes.
One in the order of Melchizedek, not in the order of Aaron.
Yes.
For when there is a change of the priesthood, there must also be a change of the law.
Okay, listen there. Wait. He said, if there is a change of priesthood, there must be trying to answer the issue of matter of sin. Yeah, isn't it?
Yeah.
Another priesthood. Because under Aaron, people received the law. He said something. If the priesthood is changed, there is of necessity that the law also must change. So I want you to know something. We have the law of sin and death, and we have the law of what? The law of the Spirit. We have the law that was given under the priesthood of Aaron, and we have the law that was given under what? Christ. And do you know something? The law of Christ, the new law that we have, the new commandment, the disciples said something. Jesus was telling them in John, he said, I give you new commandment. And what is a commandment? That you love one another. Love your neighbor. So the law of new commandment, we have faith and love. And this thing endures forever. Okay. When I love you, I will not cheat you. If I love you, I will not, isn't it? I will not kill you now. On the issue of death and the rest of them. But when we go to what the old covenant talk of sin, when we talk about the old sin, for example, if you don't obey the Sabbath, you have sinned. Is it? 2, if you plant 2 crops on your farm, for example, you plant maize and sweetness. You have sinned. Are you understanding me? We are trying to. The reason why we want people to differentiate between the old and the new. What is called sin in the Old Testament is not what is called sin in the New Testament. We must make it very, very well clear. It's called worship and bring sacrifice. That time you must go to the temple in Jerusalem. And the priesthood is limited to the children of Levites. Are we going to Jerusalem now? Have we sinned? No. In fact, the temple is changed. Our body is now the temple. In observing the Sabbath, that day you will not walk. You have to stay. Okay? There are some distance you cannot cover. We have many things that are there that we don't want to do it. Yes. Yes.
Because someone may think to act, but then you find out that someone is living in the old, practicing the Old Testament and the New Testament again. So I want to tell us that practicing them is disbelief.
Of course.
You are not be having it is believing in Jesus Christ. That is believing in yourself. And I have this in Titus chapter 2 verse 11. You should read it. We are talking about grace now, right? It is the grace of God that enables us to deny sin. It is not our doing. Because we are not in the old covenant. So in the book of Titus chapter 2 verse 11.
We are talking about the covenant.
For the grace of God that bringeth salvation hath appeared to all men, teaching us that denying ungodliness and unworldly lust, we should live soberly, righteously, and godly in this present world. So it is the kagalo. So karka yi zina ko kai yawanci sai gani kamar idan baka yi bai sai ka kwanta da ci da ayo bai yi zina ba you are righteous. Doing that wancan kana obeying Lord. But it's not the grace of God ne yake sa.
Titus what?
Titus 2
Yes, thank you.
Verse-
That's a good
verse 1.
contribution. Any question? Anywhere somebody's confused? I want us to understand this covenant. I want us to understand. Can we differentiate this one anywhere?
Yeah.
Eh?
Yeah.
Can we explain this thing to people anywhere? It's very good for us to know it, and it's very good for us to do it, to understand it. Yes.
It was sin in the old, and it is grace now. That's the difference, man. So people,
No. It was what?
it was sin before, man, and now it's grace.
No. I don't like the way you are bringing the issue of grace.
Okay.
Are you understanding me?
Okay.
Me, I'm not telling you grace now. Are you understanding
And
me?
I'm interchanging.
Yes. He talks about grace. You are talking about grace. What we are talking about here, we are talking about the old covenant and the new covenant.
Yeah.
What you are to observe in the old and what you observe in the new. What is obtainable in the old and what is now. What I want you to understand is, because I observe it, I'm not righteous. If I don't observe it, I'm not a sinner. Why? Because I am not under that law.
Yeah.
Are you understanding me?
Yeah.
So the issue of grace have not come up to now. I'm not talking about grace.
I understand.
Yes.
It's just that.
Yes.
Okay, there's
You
been
know,
a talk with someone.
The name grace have been misused. So when you call it, I feel somehow because there are some dimensions
Yeah.
in it. But let me tell you something. Grace is there. Okay? But what I want us to understand, where we talk about grace in the new covenant, is where he said, their sins I will forgive, and I will remember their iniquity what? No more. And he said, when we go to the book of Galatians, he said, David was saying, he said, blessed are those people that God will not record their own what? Iniquity. That God will not record their sins. Okay? He talks about you are righteous now. Not because you walk it, but because you have received it by Jesus. That is when we talk about grace. Are you understanding me?
Yeah.
But I want the church to come to a level where we don't observe, we don't fight over the issue of old covenant and the new covenant. When you understand now, for example now, those people that said, let's observe the Sabbath, and they said we are the Sabbath, 7 days Adventists, isn't it? Now, they have their own, when you go, they will pick the scriptures and they will tell you, well, they are right, isn't it? But what we mean here is, we should come to a time where we know that we are not under the old covenant. Not tell you, look, holy moons, isn't it? The churches are mixing it. One person will come and say, you must give your first fruit, isn't it? Yeah. And they collect first fruit. Is it good for them to collect first fruit? Well, it's up to them, isn't it? And it's up to the people. But what we want to say here is that old practice is over. We are in the new one practices. Okay? Yeah. And they will tell you that, look, this is Saturday. You should not open your shop. You should not do these things. And the rest of them. Well, they have their reasons. But I know the difference is the church have not matured enough to understand the old and the new. And he read it for us. He from Amplify said, that which is what? Absolute is out of use. And the reason why I'm telling you this, what the devil is using, the strain of sin is the law. And the strain of death is what? Is sin. So, what the devil is using, let's be fast, always yes. Coming?
51, no?
Read 1 verse 17.
For the law was given by Moses,
The law was given by Moses,
but grace and truth came by Jesus Christ.
but grace and truth came by
Jesus Christ.
that's it.
John what?
1 verse 17.
1 verse 17.
She continued.
No, me, I thought the law was the truth. But he said the law came by Moses. But grace and truth. So the world have not understood truth until Jesus came. Any question? Any question? Or any contribution? So when the devil is telling you, when the accuser is accusing you, for example, we are in the law court. Let's assume you are in the law court. And we have 19, Nigeria is having constitution, isn't it? We have 1999 constitution. That is the one we are using, isn't it? And the former one is what? We have Barista. Where is Barista now? Barista did not come today. Okay. Yes. We have another, and you went to the court and someone is quoting constitution that is outdated. That one is not 1999 constitution. It's quoting that one that is outdated. Eh? Yawa. You simply tell him, please wait. At least we are using the 1999 constitution, my brother. So we use what? 1999 constitution. It's just like that. So if the devil is telling you, thou shalt, you tell him that one was an old one. Okay? Hallelujah. But listen to me. The new covenant is for the children of God. The new covenant made us sons of God. The new covenant bring us into a relationship with God. Okay? We don't preach change of character. We preach what? New birth. And new birth comes with change of character. Okay? But the reason why we need to understand it very well so that we will not argue. Yes.
I just wanted to know, the problem here is not only observing the old covenant. The old covenant was even made for Israel, not.
Thank you very
Much.
I like this contribution. I like this contribution, isn't it? The old was between God and Israel. We are Gentiles. We have nothing to do with it.
There's no condemnation for those who are in Jesus Christ.
You are
Yes.
still hitting. He's still hitting the
There's
issue
no
of grace.
condemnation. He said it. You have answered yourself. There's no condemnation. If you are with Jesus Christ, there's no condemnation. If you are with him, no condemnation.
You know, ma,
Yes.
the reason why I don't want to, I don't want that one. Do you know the reason? Because if somebody is telling you observe the Sabbath, you don't just tell him there is no condemnation because I'm in Christ. No. Because I have not observed the Sabbath, I have not even sinned. Talk less of there is no condemnation. I am not under that law. If there is a law that if there is something that if I did a sin, it must be that I have breaking the law of what? New covenant.
That's in Romans 8 verse 1.
That one.
There's no
Isn't it?
Yes.
Are you understanding
All
me?
the same.
The reason why I'm not hitting, okay? If you're not under the law, if you do it, have you seen? Eh? For example, there is no law there, and you have so, but we look for grace, we look for mercy, okay? When things that are pertaining the new covenant. God bless us in Jesus' name. Next week, I want us to invite people. I want us to talk to our people that possibly Anjegona Yorama. Isn't it? God bless us in Jesus' name.
Amen.
Hallelujah.